it. So Bill Crane hasn't called in. I want to talk about. So last night, many of you may know, if you follow me on Facebook, the great event last night, and not talking about necessarily the event, but I want to talk about my friend Brian Steele who came into town, and the importance of bringing and reestablishing friendships that you once had years and years and years and years ago. I'm speaking about me, but I'm talking to all of you. Right. So last night, good friend of mine, Sean McGinnis, he's a publisher of Atlanta Magazine. They had their 10th anniversary whiskey festival. It was last night, and I promoted on my social media. A ton of listeners came out. Thank you for all of you that came out. We had a little area set up. We were going to do a thing called Pass the Mic. It was going to be a lot of fun, but it started to rain, so we all had to move under like the big roof and everything, which was not a problem. It wasn't a big deal at all. A high-end bourbon is still tasty and with a good cigar in the rain or not, doesn't matter, right? So it was a great time. But I bring all of this up to say to you all that my good friend Brian Steele. So I went to Riverdale High School. Riverdale High School is a prep school in New York City, private school. It's part of the Ivy League high schools. So there was Riverdale, Horace Mann, Fieldston. Was it with the B? I can't remember the one B. Poly Prep, Hackley. These were the schools in the Ivy League. It's about 7 or 8 schools. And they're all prep schools, private prep schools. And so I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school from 9th through 12th grade. And I talk about it all the time. I was the African-American kid from Harlem, the scholarship kid, going to this expensive prep school. And I was pretty much friends with everybody. My graduating class had 3 African-American girls, Pam Wood, Lynn Whitehead, and Melanie King. And then I was a lone male, African-American male in my class, Shelley Winter, right? But my friends, and I'm going to, that I was closest to, Brian Steele, Ned Offit, Eric Yeaman, Paul Stark, and Paul Delaney. I was closest to them. I was close to a lot of guys. Mike Gabriel and I were very close, and he was my center in JV. On JV, I was quarterback. He was my center. Mike Gabriel was Andy Hirsch, a very good dear friend of mine in the school. But the core crew of guys that I hung out with were the guys that I just named, right? And I saw them all the time. Slept at Ned Offit's house, for a weekend or something, countless times, right? And knew these guys very well. Brian Steele came down. He was with Vista Equity Partners. He works for Robert F. Smith, one of the richest men in the country, one of the richest African Americans in the country, but one of the richest men, period, in the country. And so Mr. Smith was down here for something called Forbes BLK. It was about entrepreneurship. It was held at Morehouse College. It was a 3-day event. I only went to the last day, and I wish I'd known about all 3 days. I would have gone to it. But they had some great speakers. Stephen A. Smith was down here yesterday speaking at it. But Mr. Smith, Robert F. Smith, spoke today. He was talking about AI, and essentially the message was, it's not coming, it's here. And how are you going to navigate life with AI? And this is a very successful man, a very rich man, a very, built a tremendous business. And he's telling these young people what's coming, or what's here, excuse me. And it was a great speech. So Brian was down here for that. So when Brian saw me talking about this whiskey festival that was last night, he hit me up on Facebook and he said, hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta. I've never come to Atlanta. I'm hardly ever there, but I'm going to be in Atlanta on the night of this event that you're talking about. Let's meet up for dinner, or let's meet up. And so he came to the event last night. And I got to tell you, the amount of emotions, the range of emotions that I had. I mean, when I say range, I mean everything from almost wanting to cry to sheer joy and happiness, everything in between, right? No sadness, just everything, just happy to see my friend from high school. And the reason why I was so good and so happy to see my friend from high school was because it brought back a flood of memories. And the memories were all good. I did not have a bad experience in high school. Not at all. Because of Brian, because of Ned, because of Eric, because of Paul, because of Mike Gabriel, because of Andy Hirsch, and many, many, many others in my high school. But those guys, Delaney and Stark, all of these guys, the guys that I played ball with. Keegan Lee was the forward on our basketball team, an Asian with a deadly jumper, one of my best friends, too. right? And so these guys, they made high school wonderful for me because I was never the other in school. I was the other. I was the only African American male in a graduating class of over 100 kids, but I was never the other because these guys just never made me feel that way. They always made me feel like I was one of the guys. Shelly can hoop. Shelly's funny. Shelly's got a math test. Shelly doesn't have a math test. I was just one of regular people. And it's important for me to bring this up to you all because it's hard enough in high school. Your hormones are raging, things are changing, you don't know, you're confused, all life is hitting you all at one time. And I'm sure it's the same whether it's the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 1800s or whatever. High school is going to be high school. But it's important to have those solid friendships, those solid relationships while you're in high school to help you navigate through. And it's very important. My mom said to me, and she was talking about my friends in high school. One day she said to me, I'd been someplace and with a friend someplace, and she said, I never worry about you and how you may turn out in life because you tend to pick good friends. And she was talking about my high school friends. She was talking about my high school friends in the neighborhood. She was talking about my high school friends in school. I bring all this up to say, many of you have children right now, and you don't know what to do. You don't know if you're good, bad, and even a good parent, bad parent, a mediocre parent. You don't know. But if your kids are in high school, if they're entering high school, I think the most important thing you can do for them is make sure they have the good judgment to make good friends while they're in high school. Because that could be the difference between success and failure in life. That could be the difference between happiness and sadness. That could be the difference between wearing all black every single day, black makeup, black eyelashes, and everything, or just being a happy-go-lucky kid waiting to get through high school so they can go to college. Pay attention to who your children befriend. Make sure that these are quality human beings. Brian, Paul, Eric, Ned, Andy Hirsch, Michael Gabriel, Keegan Lee, everybody in my high school, 99% of the kids that I went to high school with were just, at the end of the day, good human beings. They really were. We teased each other. We laughed at each other. We played jokes on each other. But everybody was just a basically good human being. And I think that's very, very important as you raise your children. Make sure they're friends with just basically good human beings. And you as an adult can tell the kids that come around your kids whether they're good people or not. You know the 7-year-old that's always cutting up, that's always breaking stuff, that's always running through the house making noise. You know that 7-year-old should not be your kid's friend. And when he comes over there one time, you say, hey, you know what, little Johnny, little 7-year-old, he moved away. He won't be over here anymore. You have to put down make the rules and tell your kid, no, he's not a good kid. He's not going to be your friend. It's the best advice I can give you. That's what I learned last night into today when I saw my friend from high school, Brian Steele. I remembered that these guys helped me get through high school. Because as the other, I was never made to feel like the other. And that translated into me having a long, healthy life and long, healthy relationships in life with people who are white, who are black, who are Jewish, who are atheists, who are Muslim, who are straight, who are gay, who are women, who are men throughout my life because of the friends that I made in high school. The Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.